Okay, so we are here to discuss if we recognize or create opportunities and how we do it.
Yeah. As long as I've been in entrepreneurship, and that has been quite a while, I think the emphasis has been on opportunity recognition. I can remember being told that that's what we're going to teach way back in the 90s when I first started teaching. We go out and we search and we try to look for, find, and recognize opportunity. And it never felt right to me because as an entrepreneur myself, I never did that. I never went out seeking. I always had something happen that allowed me to be a bit more proactive and to actually create something.
And it's interesting because I think some of that historical sense that we recognize opportunities comes from our notion that entrepreneurs are heroes.
Yeah.
They work by themselves. Usually they're males.
Mm-hmm.
They have this X-ray vision, as opposed to, entrepreneurs are people that typically work hard because they have some insight or they're in the world and there's something that's bothering them or troubling them, and they have to start. They start very slowly. Sometimes they build these things. They go step by step. And, they pivot many times. Pivot's a new word that's kind of entered our vocabulary. And so over time, through these processes, they create these opportunities. But that's something when we started, no one talked about that. Entrepreneurs were heroes. They saw these things.
Yeah, but actually, your research did a lot to show that it really is a myth.
It's a myth.
It's a myth.
And I find it really interesting, not having sort of learned the theories around entrepreneurship, but observing and following and learning to become an entrepreneur on my own, that it's the opportunities that you learn about, and then the creative component comes in when you understand multiple challenges and variables that you can make sense out of.
Yeah.
And that's where you sort of create from something that you recognize, but it becomes a much larger sort of play field where you have to deploy your skill set, and that's where the creative, successful entrepreneurs are made.
And
Creation through execution.
Yes.
Right.
And I found that to be able to do that, to be able to have an insight or an idea that you can think about and turn into an opportunity, you have to be out there and present in the world. You have to be aware of things because there are problems everywhere that need to be solved. We just need to see them. We need to recognize, have an insight around those problems, and then do something about it. Yeah. And that's what you were talking about when you said execute.
Yeah, you have to go out and you have to execute. And it's interesting. You have to be present. You have to also understand what your values are, right? So many entrepreneurs, if you think about what they've done, very great people, and you go back, it taps into their original values. And so that's what fueled that passion, if you will, which is another topic that's hot these days in entrepreneurship. But, that's what sustains you through this process of execution and failing and thinking about what failed and how you have to take your next step and which direction you're going to go in. I mean, the feedback's very noisy. We don't really talk about how stressful that part of opportunity creation can be.
And if you look at also customer needs, that creating unknown needs. The customers may not know what they need, and that's also where this creating part comes in.
Yeah, good old Steve Jobs,
that's right, exactly.
Yeah, good old Steve Jobs.
Yeah. But I think that this notion of the idea versus the opportunity is a really critical one that entrepreneurs or entrepreneur wannabes need to understand, because we have ideas all day long that never amount to anything, and that's okay.
Right.
But if you are aware and you're in that mode that you want to be able to create, then any insight that you get during the day is going to give you the opportunity to create something that might have commercial value.
Right. But if you don't go out into the world,
right,
you're not going to find that out. You know, lots of entrepreneurs, unfortunately, have ideas that have no real value outside of their idea pool. And until you go out and actually act,
Right.
you're not going to find that out.
Yeah.
Great points.
Yeah.
Well, we wrap it up. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thanks.